if you could take a moment and go to thegrowingbanddirector.com to give at least $5 or $3 a month, and it helps the content continue to be created for you to help our profession grow. Let's go back to our scheduled episode. Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast here at Midwest Day 3. This is Friday. I'm here with Cathy Benford from Round Rock High School in Texas.
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Larry Clark just introduced us, and
he's an old friend.
I think you have more kids in your high school than I have in the entire state of Maine. So
maybe so.
That's beautiful. You said there's like 4,000 in your high school.
At the beginning of the school year, the official count was like 3,986 or something. Wow. It's fluctuated a little bit since then, but roughly it's 4,000 students.
So I think a lot of people know what's great about that, right? As a band world, like obviously a lot of students means more great things. What are some challenges?
Well, when you have a large campus, the campus has to offer a lot of choices for kids to choose from. And so the challenge is keeping them in the band.
Okay.
And to create a band program that kids want to be a part of, because they can do multiple things, but we're also at a high performance level on a lot of different activities. And it's not a low socioeconomic school per se. It's moderate. It's a moderate economic school campus, but they want to do everything really, really well. And the kids and the families understand we can't let them do everything and it's all going to go well.
So they're selective.
It's selective. So we've got to make the band program something that they want to do and stay in.
Do kids do band and do sports?
Some.
Okay.
Some sports it's doable. Others it's just not because of the class conflict.
Yep. So how many bands in your high school?
Marching or concert?
Concert bands.
5.
5.
We just moved back to 5 concert bands.
Okay.
The 5th concert band is fairly small, but we don't create like what do people call it, like a scale jail. They actually play music and they work a lot on fundamentals. They work a lot on scales. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's but they are also going to evaluations in the spring, and they do the whole thing. Like all the other bands. It's just a different expectation level.
Just treating them all the same for what they're ready for.
Yes,
it's huge.
They are a dragon band kid,
right? And
we have that dragon band standard for everybody.
Well, some people, they focus on those best kids, and then they forget that in 2 years.
Right. Well, I'm the associate director, and I think one of the things that I absolutely love and respect about our head director is he does the wind ensemble, but he also teaches the 5th band, because he understands that if you want a phenomenal wind ensemble, you have to make sure that you understand what that 5th band needs as the head director. And then he can also help guide the rest of the program the way it needs to be guided, because he knows what the top and the bottom are.
How does programming go for all 5 of those bands? Does each director sort of say, this is what we want to do, or do you have conversations about it, or how does that?
Well, the way that we structure our concert programming is the head director does David Mobley, the head director, he does the wind ensemble. Our second band is called Wind Symphony. Mm-hmm. And there's 4 band directors total, one of which is a dedicated percussion specialist. And he actually goes to the middle schools and teaches beginners and all of that.
What's his name?
Kyle Hammock.
Okay.
And then the other band director with me is Isabel Buhadana, who's young, but she's fantastic. And the 3 of us, David, Isabel, and I, we share the Wind Symphony. And there's 3 pieces you got to do for UIL. So we each take a piece, but the whole spring isn't just UIL. So it's a whole nother topic. And then I primarily teach the symphonic band, the 3rd band. Isabel teaches the 4th band, and then David does the 5th. Because we're in Texas, and because we are we go through the UIL process in the spring, and it's not a contest, it's now an evaluation. It's kind of like our state academic evaluations, and it makes band more academic in Texas. And technically the school and the state sees band as an academic subject, which is fantastic. But we have to program within the realms of what UIL asks us to program. So even the 5th band has to program a grade 3 and a grade 2 at the minimum.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard, because that 5th band really could be doing 2s and 1s, because that's where they are.
That's their experience level.
Yeah, that's their experience level. And some of them join band in 8th grade. And so they are truly beginners when they get to us, or just beginners plus. And some of them just are in band to have fun. And so they don't practice as much, and so they don't achieve as much, and that's okay. There's a place for them.
Right.
Just like in the fall, we have two marching bands. We have a varsity band and a junior varsity band, and that junior varsity band is designed in a way that they learn the fundamentals, but they do their own independent show, and now we're competing with them and everything, and they're doing great.
I've never heard of two marching bands in one school.
Yeah, it's very
that's
rare.
Great.
It's very rare. There are some schools that have it, but the second band doesn't compete.
Yep.
But this is our third year competing. And again, they just do one marching festival, and they just do the UIL about that is a marching contest in the fall.
Yep.
Most of them stay eligible grade wise to do it. There's also that issue, but in the spring, because it's an evaluation, there's no eligibility requirement anymore in Texas. Yeah. And so the marching festival we went to, they kind of changed some of their structure a little bit, but it was for the better. And we're in Texas, we're a 6A school with 4,000 students.
Right.
And they categorized the junior varsity as a 4A band. We won music.
Wow.
There were 3 bands and we beat the other 2 in music. I was like, what? And we didn't come in last as we usually do. And it's like, guys, we're just kept going for the evaluation. And then all of a sudden we hear through the grapevine that we won best music. And I'm just like, cool.
Is there a number you cut the marching band at?
Yeah.
Or is it just if the kids are ready or not ready for it?
No, we do have our varsity marching band numbers that we like to stay within. And it works well for the drill and the drill kind of thing that we want in the balance of the band. And then at UIL, we actually got a superior rating overall, average. What? That's awesome.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is the kids, knowing that the varsity band gets to, when they get a 1, they move on to area. They were like, are we going to area? It's like, no, that's just for the varsity groups. You were like, okay, good, because that's a lot of pressure.
Yep.
No, that's not why you're here. You're not here for the pressure.
Yeah.
We want to just train you to do well. And they've taken it on, this is the 10th year we've had the JV band, and we've just competed for the last 3. So we've built the program to that point. So it's not something that you can just go, we're going to have a JV band and then we're going to compete with them. Not a good educational.
Seeing the long picture is big. I remember in Maine when winter percussion and winter guard became a thing, we just did it, and it was a concert group, and they did a standstill.
Right. Well, it was like,
and then the next year they memorized it, and then the next year they moved, and then before you know it, 12 years later, like they're doing the whole thing and running itself and all that. So it's like people wait to start something until they think it's going to be. No, just start it, and then it will grow.
Right. And we are up to 100 kids in that JV band in the fall. And if we tried to have 100 alternates that were like shadowing spots, or 100 kids in a JV, like an alternate block somewhere on the field, they just wouldn't get anything learned and accomplished. But now we actually can focus on the fundamentals of marching and playing with them at the same time. We do a little bit of visual, like choreography. Sometimes we do a few little props. They may help figure out how to manage that, and it works for them.
It's great.
Yeah.
My good friend Trent Austin started Austin Custom Brass so many years ago. You can call them at 816-410-0826. They ship all over the world. They have a shop in Kansas City, Missouri, and they really are an amazing sponsor of this podcast. They do trumpets, trombones, euphoniums, tubas, mouthpieces, and more, all the way from the beginner to the professional. Austin Custom Brass has worked with thousands of brass players from around the world. And you can check them out on www.austincustombrass.biz. Whether you're a student, a band director, a parent, or a player, Austin Custom Brass is your place to go for all your brass playing needs. Austin Custom Brass works with band programs from all over the country. They can provide a bid to you today. They can work within your school's budget, and they accept POs. Call their team today at 816-410-0826. Austin Custom Brass is an amazing resource for brass players and great humans, great people. You'll love working with them. Give them a call. Exceclia Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. Exceclia Music Publishing provides new music for concert band, jazz ensemble, solo and ensemble, and books for all levels and occasions, including a specially curated and robust selection of music for your contest and festival performances. A variety of overtures, marches, and lyric works included on numerous state lists await. Select music that's perfect for your contest and festival needs at exceliamusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. Repertoire. So what are some pieces that you really like? Any grade level?
So I kind of want to just talk about grade three because grade
Yep.
three in Texas is very interesting. It's the one that more bands in Texas seem to be eligible to dip into. You've got your top middle school groups that play the grade three off the grade three list. Just then that's like their max. Well, that's not their max, but that's the part of their minimum. There's no maximum except for the fact that grade five is hard to get, but that's all the college level stuff and whatever. But then you have like the 3A bands or the smaller high school bands that's their minimum to play. They have to play something off the grade three. So for those groups that are a little bit more rural, maybe, but they have a really good program, they've figured out how to get some private lessons in there and all of that, and they have a really good developing program. Well, they want to play that top 3A group wants to play Lincolnshire Posy, or they want to play something like that. So you've got, but they don't have to play as many movements. So you've got that end, you've got the middle school end, and let's face it, middle school music written for middle school sounds like middle school music. Doesn't matter how good you play. It's just the orchestration necessary, right, for those developing middle school kids. And then you've got bands like us, where it's our third band and our fourth band and our fifth band that plays off that list. The fourth and fifth bands kind of play some of that junior high stuff, and that's okay. But the third band, they could easily play some stout stuff. So that 3A list for me gets smaller and smaller every year because I don't want to repeat pieces, even after 4 years when you don't have the same kids anymore. My favorite piece off the list recently that I've performed with the symphonic band is Maslanka's Mother Earth. That's what it's called. And Maslanka was such a genius. He would kind of revert to nature for his themes, but this piece it can go really fast.
Yeah.
It needs to go fast.
Yeah.
But it's all quarter, half, and whole notes.
Yep.
So you start slow with quarter notes and half notes and whole notes, and then you just build up, you get it clean and you build up the tempo and you clean it again and you build up the tempo some more. And I think we did well with it. And because Maslanka writes as he writes, or he wrote, it just sounds like a grown-up band.
Yeah.
But it's accessible to these kids that are still developing, but not young.
There's another really accessible Maslanka piece I like, Illumination. I don't know if you know Illumination.
That's, I think, on our grade 4 list, maybe grade 3. I don't remember. I was looking at it, but it wasn't going to quite fit our program for this year.
Yeah.
This year, one of the pieces I'm programming was by Nishimura-san, Yuriko Nishimura. And it's called Starship. And apparently it's the first band piece she ever wrote. And she entered into the Japan all band contest and it won. And so it was a required performance piece for them. And I actually met her yesterday, and we're going to collaborate so that she gets to come in and talk. And she's not going to come in, I don't think. I think we're going to, because she lives in LA and she's about to move to New York. And we're going to Zoom call and have her come in, and I'm going to send her recordings. And that's one of my favorite things to do is play music by composers. If they're still with us, then I will send them recordings. And then if they're not with us, like Maslanka, I didn't even think to do this, but I should have been sending recordings to his son, because his son edits everything and he knows his dad's work inside and out. But we spoke here the next Midwest after we had performed that piece, and he was like, "This is really good, but you should have sent it to me. I could have given you some tips." I was like, "I know." It's fine.
What's the name of another teacher, not in your area, like somewhere around the country, that you really respect their program?
Gosh, there's so many. Let me think. Names. It's funny. You have convention friends that you see all the time, and you see them and you're like, "Oh my gosh," and that's how you see them. But you sometimes need a reminder of their name to remember their name. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, but let's all admit it. We all do that, right? Let's see. Holly McCoy is in New York, and she's doing some great things with her band.
You know where she teaches?
New York.
Okay, in New York. Got it. Got it.
Cecilia Clark. She is in point, I don't remember if she's still in Cobb County or if she's in South Carolina. I can never remember. She just changed schools too. So, but she's one of the SLAM board members.
Yep.
She's fantastic. I just love talking to her because she's just a positive person all the time. And at first you're like, can't be real, but it is. That's who she is. And it's, it's wonderful.
That's great.
So those are the two first people that come to my mind.
What's a lesson if you go back and tell your younger self as a band director? Like what's something that you've learned that maybe you would pass on to younger band directors?
Being a Texas band director and like I was telling Larry, being a Texas band director isn't just one category. It is, it's on a gradient scale. And so you have programs like ours that go to not all the BOAs, but some of the big BOAs.
They're very well known.
We're well known, and we do the Grand Nationals thing and finals most of the time. It's good, And then you have some that are just okay with doing what they're going to do. Like Allen High School is huge, but they want to have a really good concert program. They want their kids to have a really good time with the marching band thing. They march all 7,000 or how many in that band. And my God, every time I see that band, I'm like, I'm not even going to try to.
Is there a field there underneath them? Yes,
exactly. But those kids have fun all the time in that marching. Not that my kids don't, our kids don't, but it's not that intensity. Okay, we're going to go to this contest. And so I don't remember what the question was anymore, but
advice to yourself.
Oh, right. So especially now that I'm teaching at this level of program, I have to remind myself all the time. And thinking back, I should have reminded myself as a young teacher as well. My job is to teach kids how to play, period. Not just play their instruments, not just play around, but how to play and have a good time. And and in their life, it's probably going to be their hobby. So if we treat them all like they're going to be performers or music educators or something like that, and at the intensity that we do it, especially at the intensity that we go, they're going to lose interest at some point.
Yep.
We've had several generations of kids that have come through and like, I'm not doing college band. I've had, it's not intense enough, or it's not this, or it's not that, what we had in high school. And we have to kind of convince them it's okay to go to college and go to college marching band and experience something different.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of fun, but it's fun. I promise.
Yeah.
And sometimes they believe us, and sometimes they figure it out for themselves eventually, and sometimes they just don't do it, and that's all okay.
Yeah. Can I ask a little bit about the jazz scene in Texas?
Sure. Actually, you're talking to kind of the right person. I'm the founder of the Texas Jazz Educators Association.
All right.
Founded when IAJE went away. We founded that in my kitchen during Hurricane Ike. I'm not as involved with that as much anymore, but I did have my finger on the pulse of it all for quite a while.
Because I've heard of schools who don't do jazz at all.
We don't do jazz at all.
Yeah.
But we did, and until recently. So
is that because there just isn't enough time with all the kids and then the marching program, and
it depends from school to school. But in Texas, there is a very high expectation and a very strict schedule about how your year kind of runs. So in the fall, you're kind of focusing on marching band the whole time. Anytime somebody gets invited to Midwest for we're like, how are you booking this in there? Because we can rehearse outside of the school day 8 hours. And that's a lot. And it includes weekends for marching band or for any given activity. So we can do 8 hours of marching band prep per week outside of the school day. We can do 8 hours of concert band prep through the week, but there aren't that many hours, and these kids also have to do these other activities. Same kind of thing in the spring. Most of the jazz programs run fairly spring only in Texas.
Okay.
A lot of them are after school programs.
Yep.
I actually ran a jazz band that was at 7 o'clock in the morning.
My wife does that.
It was I made it a 0-hour class.
Okay.
Did all the kids show up every day? No. My drummer, there was a couple of weeks where I got permission from his mom, and I swung by his school, no pun intended, picked that boy up and took him to campus because he would always show up late. And I'm like, I can't have this jazz band going without a drummer.
I had a year with my bass player, same thing. I just pick him up.
And I probably shouldn't say that because it's kind of taboo to do that. But again,
that was a while ago.
His mom, his mom and I talked a long time, and to this day he says thank you very much for doing that, because I think he still plays.
The kid I did that for is now undercover, like in the CIA.
Oh.
And he's now turned his life around. He's like, thank you. You know, you have no idea what that. Yeah, you just don't know.
Still plays some, and he gigs now, and he's like, thank you for teaching me how to be on time, because I'd get fired all the time, or I would never get hired.
So from your jazz experience, what's a jazz band chart or writer that you really liked?
I love everything by Doug Beach. Okay. You know, it's a little hard.
Are you saying that because he's right here?
No.
Or where? Okay.
But he is a dear friend.
Yeah.
But you know, I usually come around and when I was doing the jazz band thing, I would stand here for a long time at Beach Music and just talk to him about, or Kendor, I guess, and talk to him about what tunes are new. Here's what my jazz band is comprised of. We finally paused the jazz program. It's on pause. It's not gone forever, because we had like 25 saxophones. Oh, and let me tell you, when our double reeds march, they usually play saxophone. I don't know why this tradition started, but it's kind of an unwritten rule, and it's like, we've got to break this rule, y'all. There are 55. This fall, there were 55 saxophones in the band.
Wow.
I can't.
Wow.
So yeah, we're gonna try to get our clarinet, our double reeds to play like flute or clarinet or something. Not that we don't have enough of those, but anyways, so we would have like 25 saxophones show up, some double reeds that wanted to also do, that's fine, you know, and like 3 or 4 or 5 trumpets, fine, great, a drummer, a bass player. I'd have to finagle. Well, somebody in the French horn sections played piano and they want to swing, so they'll come, and like a trombone player.
Yeah.
Come on, trombones. So so the last 2 years that we did jazz band, we ended up just doing combos.
Yep.
And I had one of our trumpet teachers was getting his master's degree in jazz trumpet at University of Texas at Austin. And I had him coming in talking about improv and everything. He would come to almost every rehearsal, and we would do, you know, we would work the kids, and we would teach the kids how to also find the gifts, because as a combo, like, you can't just do a concert of combos, but it's not quite enough music, but it's also not quite enough, but it's like too much to add to the spring concert or whatever. Yep. We had them playing at the banquet, like dinner music, which was cool. Everybody enjoyed that. They loved doing it. Yeah. They figured out how to get some gigs at a coffee shop or whatever, and there's some of them are still playing together, which is great. Yeah. So that's where we are with the jazz program. But there's some jazz programs that are fantastic. Bradley Middle School just played yesterday. I went to college with their director. We marched in the marching band together. We played trumpet together, and I was like, Carlos, like, and he goes, I just get out of their way, and I'm like, no. You can get out of their way because you've taught them the fundamentals of doing it. But man, this is awesome.
Doesn't happen by accident.
No, it does not happen by accident. Yep. It does not. And none of this happens by accident. You know, it's got to be thoughtful preparation.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This was fun.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.